Okay, man, are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go. Now, come on, now crank this motherfucker up.
Break it down like this.
Hello, Internet. Gino, that's Gino Greco here again with another episode of Deep Listens. And today we're discussing Webbed, a tiny indie platformer. Well, it's an indie platformer about a tiny spider who has to save her boyfriend, Spider, from some sort of thieving magpie. And joining me to discuss Webbed and spiders and all things eight-legged, as always, Pete Busby. Hello, Pete.
Hey, what's going on? Excited to talk about a spider game, even though I am canonically afraid of bugs. I don't like them. They're creepy. They're crawly. They fly. They skitter. They're terrible.
I just really like that the one you're most afraid of is the butterfly.
They're sneaky. They're like flamboyant moths. Dragonflies are terrible too.
The flamboyant moth is. You know, you really sound like. Have you ever seen the SNL sketch with Christopher Walken, gardening tips for a man who's deathly afraid of plants?
No.
You should watch that. You should watch that sketch when he explains why he does not like plants. I feel you would feel at one with him.
I know. I'll have to check it out. They're terrible. Not plants. I love plants, spiders, and bugs. But nonetheless. This week's fun fact is about ants. The spiders of ants.
The spiders of the ground. Wait, no. Spiders with cooperation. Sure.
The spiders of 6 legs. So this one's about the trap jaw ant.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so the trap jaw ant actually has the second fastest moving predatory appendage among the animal kingdom. Any guesses for the first?
Some sort of spider. Some sort of snake? Maybe?
No, another kind of ant.
Damn it.
It's the Dracula ant is actually the fastest.
The Dracula ant? Oh, shit.
But we're not talking about the Dracula ant right now. The trap jaw ant can close its jaws within 130 microseconds. So that's a peak force of 300 times its body weight and acceleration of 1,000,000 meters per second. Or 100,000 Gs. So I threw a lot of numbers at you. What that means is the ant will use its jaws to launch itself backwards as a way to escape threats.
Huh.
So yeah, basically they use their jaws as a giant catapult to launch themselves backwards and away from predators. It's
like,
crazy.
They're attached to something and then they let go and it throws them back?
No, like their jaws are opened 180 degrees, and the force of them closing propels the ant backwards.
Just rockets them away.
They bite the ground as hard as possible, and it shoots them backwards.
What?
That sounds fake.
Hey, look, I'm telling you.
That's how physics works, but fuck.
Yep. It's crazy.
So it's like fucking in space when someone shoots air in one direction to shoot themselves backwards, but it's on Earth and with their faces?
Yes, pretty much.
All right. I'll need to look up videos of this happening. Thank you for this fun fact.
Yeah, it was fun too, right? They're not always fun.
They're not always fun. Usually they're horrifying. This one is fun. We are also joined, as always, by M. Palladino in recovery right now from COVID-19.
Hello.
How are you doing, Ed?
Yeah. I'm doing all right. My throat's been bad for the past day, so it's probably going to be a quiet one for me.
This is your Michael Jordan flu game.
Yeah, I'll be fine. I'm vaxxed and boosted and all that. So happy to talk about a short, cute little game about a spider.
Yeah. So before we get to our discussion of Webbed, our normal housekeeping, you can get in touch with the show at DeepListensPod on Twitter, deeplistens.libsyn.com. We have our comment sections, and deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com. You can also support the show on patreon.com/deeplistens. And if you were to do so, if you would, send even $1 on the Patreon, you would gain access to our Discord, which might allow you to be on the Discord report.
The Discord report. Boop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop. This week on the Discord, let's see,
A
what
lot
are
of
we
people
doing?
got COVID.
Yeah, me and Doyle have COVID currently.
So COVID's still a thing? That's still around?
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
weirdly
okay.
enough.
Okay.
You might have heard that it is over. Apparently it is not.
Weird.
Yeah. So
COVID-2, Electric Boogaloo.
it's a thing. Even though a lot of people say it's not. Other than that, last night ZP was playing with NVIDIA Canvas on stream.
That look cool?
Yeah, it's wild. If you have a NVIDIA graphics card, you can download this program for free, and you just like paint lines on one side of the screen, and it translates it into like a landscape photograph. Like with, yeah, it's wild. That video does not exist because we talked about some personal stuff while we were filming it. But it was fun. He went on for about 4 hours. So if you are interested in making some landscapes, get a robot to do it. Download that thing if you have a graphics card that can handle it.
Take that, joy
other
of
than
painting.
that, yeah, exactly. Now you can not do the art and still have art. It's a good way to make NFTs.
Oh no. Another thing that happened in the Discord was our Star Wars Holiday Special watch party.
Yes. I
which
forgot about
occurred.
that.
Yeah,
It's a little while ago.
we had a watch party with folks in the Discord watching the Holiday Special. Pete, are you aware of the Star Wars Christmas Special?
So I've listened to multiple podcasts on it, but have never actually seen it, weirdly enough.
You should see it.
It's now
I will.
freely available on YouTube.
Wonderful.
Would you be surprised if I told you B. Arthur was in it?
No, having listened to the podcasts,
Oh,
I would
damn
not
it.
be surprised. But
Damn it.
had I not, I would have been flabbergasted. Did you know fun B. Arthur fact? Bonus
I
fun fact
want to
for the
know it.
podcast.
If I don't know it, I want to know
Please
it.
tell us.
Tell us.
The woman who played B. Arthur's mother on Golden Girls was actually younger than B. Arthur.
Really?
You know, somehow I thought you were going to say that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I heard that one before.
It's a little odd. It was
I
a great
watched-
show. I love it, but strange.
Watched a lot of Golden Girls
Hmm.
over the holiday break because Betty White passed, and so a lot of channels were just running Golden Girls back and forth all day.
We're actually recording on what would be her 100th birthday.
Apparently, too. Rip Betty White. But
Yeah.
somebody told me this, and I did not fact check it, so don't take it as gospel. But apparently, the women in Golden Girls were the same age as the women in Sex and the City now.
Huh.
Like in the reboot of Sex and the City, those women are the same age as the women in the Golden Girls. Again, did not fact check, but that's
So-
what I was told.
So what you're saying is the new Sex and the City show is Golden Girls for a new generation?
Yes, a much, much worse Golden Girls for a new generation.
Ugh,
I see.
that makes me sad. I just kept, the whole time I was watching Golden Girls, I would just shout at anyone who would listen to me, why isn't there a show like this anymore? Why aren't there shows about old people just doing not even old people, middle-aged people doing middle-aged people things in a funny way?
Yeah, it's a great question. One of the things I heard, too, that I found very interesting is that on Golden Girls, these women aren't together because of, like, economic necessity. It's just social. They just wanted a community, so they created one, which I thought was lovely.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess Grace and Frankie is that on Netflix, but, you know, there should be more. There should be one on network television. Come on now. Most people are over the age of 20. You can make shows about them. It's probably fine. All right, so that's kind of it for the Discord report. Now it is time for my obsession of the week, and my obsession of the week is simple. It's going to be alienating to some people, but I'm okay with that. New York bagels are great. They're the best. I love them.
Sure.
I was back in New York for the holidays, and I got to have New York bagels again, and let me tell you what, I've been subsisting off of garbage.
Gino, what's your favorite bagel, and why should it be pumpernickel?
I don't mind pumpernickel. I like rye pumpernickel mixed.
Yeah, marble rye. Sure.
Marble
sure.
rye.
I'm familiar with that.
I'm a fan of the marble rye. I also will sometimes have a jalapeno cheddar bagel, and that's very good. But those are my two go-tos, the marble rye or pumpernickel.
Nice.
And the jalapeno cheddar.
Where do you stand on lox?
So,
you're a vegetarian. I forgot. I'm sorry.
I'm vegetarian, but my favorite thing to eat was lox and cream cheese.
Okay. So back before you made this valiant and admirable life change, you did enjoy lox.
I love smoked salmon. Yeah. Lox is great. Lox with cream cheese, also great. On its own, great. With a cracker, awesome. Don't take that under advice. People who are listening, don't go out and eat lox. It's morally, it's not so great. I'm a vegetarian. Morally, maybe that's not so good. But it's very delicious. And I wish that they could come up with something that tastes anything like it. As a vegetarian, please. Yeah, the veggie fish options are all almost universally terrible. So yeah, the New York bagels, they're very good. I missed them, and if you're in the New York area or find a way to actually get New York bagels, do so. They are quite a bit better than what the Midwest and the West of the U.S. will produce for you. And, they'll tell you it tastes like a New York bagel, but, if you've had one, you know that they're lying to you. So yeah, that's my obsession of the week. Yep. And that's the worst part, knowing that they're lying to me. So, without further ado, let's discuss Webbed. Pete, you picked this game. You describe it.
I did. Well, honestly, Gino, you pretty much described the whole thing at the very beginning. You are a spider, and your boyfriend is captured by a very large, very scary bird. And you have to get back and rescue him. And the way you do so is you build a hot air balloon using help from other members of the forest insects. Birds, ants, not birds, bees, ants, and dung beetles.
Yep. The famous Rainbow Coalition. Ants, bees, and dung beetles. So yeah, the game is starring a jumping spider specifically. And your goal is to kind of assemble some bits to make a hot air balloon to chase after this bird that has taken your love away. The game starts out pretty straightforward. It seems like a regular platformer, except you've got a dance button. Did y'all appreciate the dance button in this tutorial?
It's the first button they tell you about is to dance before even movement, which I appreciated.
Yeah, you
and
just
it's fun. You wave
legs.
your arms. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Good
dance
choice.
with your boyfriend, and then you get your other two buttons, which are obvious, like left click on the mouse. I played with mouse and keyboard. Left click was a standard grapple, so you hold down to shoot a web, and then you're kind of retracting, and you have control to swing, a la your Bionic Commandos, your Spider-Mans, those sorts of games, and you let off to release. And then your right click is to spin webs. So basically you can shoot a strand of web onto one object and then point at a second object to shoot the other end of that web, and they will become tethered together. So, and there's a little bit of force to it too. So you can use the webs to kind of pull objects up, pull objects horizontally, hold things in place, and you can attach webs to other webs to make it true like spider web. You can just kind of tether things to the ground or tether things to the ceiling, and this is used mainly to solve physics puzzles.
You can also, it should be said, and here's where the game started to go off the rails for me, but you can shoot lasers out of your eyes.
That was what I was going to say. There's a fourth button. There's dance, there's these two web options, and then there's laser eyes. How did you appreciate crazy laser eyes?
So here's the thing, right? Let's dive in.
Yeah,
When
let's
I
talk
picked,
about it.
yeah, let's get deep here. When I picked this game, the reason I picked it was because I was hoping for something along the lines of, I'll use a phrase I've used before, alien epistemology. So,
What that?
yep, I got it. I got your back end. Don't worry. So the idea of alien epistemology is that we sort of dive into the way other creatures think, live, experience, exist in the world, and see how fundamentally different it is from our own, right? So it's basically like appreciating the world from a new set of eyes in a way that's radically different, as opposed to just imagining, oh, what would it be like if I were a spider? Instead, we think, what would it be like to actually be a spider? Make sense?
Yeah.
Right. And I thought this game might be that until I got laser eyes.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it's like, how would a human navigate this space? With guns.
Guns for eyes. Like the comparison I want to make is to Octodad.
Mm-hmm.
So like this game, webbed is a lot more accurate to what spiders do. Like spiders actually can scuba dive, weirdly enough. If they use little bubbles, that's something a spider can actually do. They can also ride on wind. Not necessarily using leaves, but using web parachutes.
Mm-hmm.
These are things spiders do. Octopussies?
That's the one.
You got it.
That's two James Bond's Octopussy together as Octopussies.
Octopi don't actually dress up as dads. But I felt like that game's controls gave me a better idea of what it might actually be like to be an octopus than this game's did. That make sense?
Yeah, this game made me think what it would be like to be a bionic commando.
Yeah. As opposed to a spider, I'm now like a person driving a mecha spider with laser eyes.
Not to be confused with the mecha ant that is contained in this game.
Yes, that also happens.
There also is a very large ant mech.
Yeah, so go ahead, Em.
Yeah, just mechanically, I understand the reason you would need a laser, perhaps, in order to cut your own web, because you spin a lot of webs, and you also need to separate them at times. So, could it have been done with something that was not a laser? Probably.
Probably not in a way that... So if you wanted to make this believable, the spider would have to break the webs by being on the web and biting it. Right? Spiders don't use tools.
Is that how spiders do it? They bite it?
Well, I mean, an already laid web, I think that's what they would have to do. Bite it or kick it loose. They like pinch it off of their butt when they're weaving webs.
Right.
But
do they ever actually like get rid of old web? Not
really. They just abandon them.
So here, this is just, take this for what it will. This is from a forum, but they do give a source at least. There is a serrated interior edge on each fang that, according to biology of spiders, is used to clip silk threads. Most spiders also have, chelicerae teeth before their fangs that are used to grip and crush prey. So, some things about spider teeth.
Okay, so, like, if you wanted to do this believably, that would mean that you would only be able to snip webs when you're kind of at melee range.
On them. Yeah.
On them. And that would present all sorts of problems with this game's physics. Like, you're on the web, you snip it, you fall, maybe you fall to your death. You've got a bunch of webs stacked up on top of each other. How do you know which web you're going to cut? Like, there are a bunch of UI and just, like, playability problems with that. Like, it'd be a pain in the ass if you had to grapple onto the specific thread you want to cut, given how they decided to make this game play. If, say, for example, if it was a platformer and not about physics puzzles, and we'll talk about this a little bit more soon, I would say you could probably get away with not having laser eyes. But because of the direction they decided to take the gameplay in, I don't think verisimilitude was really what they were going for.
No, I mean, once you commit to having a mech ant, verisimilitude, not your foremost concern.
Yeah. So, like, the game gives you crazy laser eyes, and it was very funny to me. Like, I was looking up, trying to see reviews of this game when I was playing it, and some of the user reviews were like, finally, a game without guns. I was just looking for a game that wasn't about guns, and I'm like, well, then I guess you didn't play this game, because it's got fucking laser eyes.
You didn't get very far because it's the 4th prompt.
Yeah, I guess
Fire
you just...
lasers.
5 out of 5. I love this game didn't have weapons. Well, I guess you didn't play it. So yeah, this game, like, once they give you the 4 buttons, and your boyfriend gets kidnapped by, I think it's a bowerbird, actually, not a magpie. You then have to go to these 3 different directions to kind of get the components for your hot air balloon. I think the game kind of steers you to go to the anthill first.
Yeah, why do you need a hot air balloon?
Well, because the bowerbird is far away.
Because it lives on a floating island.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Full of shiny things.
Yeah, that also float.
Right, yeah. Right, yep. Forgot about that part, that it's a floating island. So, yeah, did you have to go to the anthill first, or do you just...
I went to the bees first.
Okay.
I did the ants first. So.
Okay, I did the ants first.
I didn't know where I was going. I didn't even know there was a map until I was done with the game, basically.
Yeah, there is a map, and... Okay, we can go into some of the difficulties I had, I think, then, with the game. You can go in 3 different directions. There's the ants, there's the honeybees, and then there's the dung beetles. This game, navigating around is very much Bionic Commando. You've got a grappling hook, but the grappling hook is a web. And then you've also got the ability to construct these webs, which can be used for platforming purposes. So, like, you shoot a line from like the ground up to something you need to walk to, where swinging is not convenient or is dangerous. Like, that's one way to do things. There are a lot of, like, pressure sensors, weirdly enough, in this game. And if you, like, hit a pressure sensor, it'll generally kill you. But maybe you can shoot a line that will just miss the pressure sensor. And since, when you're walking on a web, you have complete control over your spider versus swinging where, timing the swing and making sure you don't swing over the pressure sensor is more difficult. So, like, that's how you're getting around in this game. And you can also jump. The lasers don't generally help that much for navigating. Then there's the actual puzzles of the game, which are almost all physics puzzles using the web mechanic. So, for example, in the ant location, in the anthill, there are some sections where, like, the ants, and Pete, maybe you want to talk about the ants and their deal in a little bit, but, like,
oh my god, I would love to talk about the ants. Yes.
Soviet ants?
They are. All the ants call you comrade. And, like, it's very sort of division of labor. Like, they all have their jobs, they all have their tasks, which fits for a normal anthill.
Mm-hmm.
All ants have their individual jobs. But this led me to 2 questions, right? One, is there a more communistic animal than ants? I'm not sure there is. I think ants are a pretty big choice. And 2, what would be the animal symbol of capitalism?
Well, I think
Isn't it like the elephant or the bull or something?
Well, that is on Wall Street.
So they're bull and bear
capital
markets.
Yeah.
But
I
I
don't
think
think of them as like that capitalist.
like winner take all sort of stuff. I mean, lions would not be a bad guess.
That would be a solid choice.
The
The lions have so many, like...
They have like a pride.
Yeah, it's like a family structure.
The problem is, like, animals don't have capital. Like, there's no way for, like, one animal to exploit the labor of other animals necessarily.
Well, what would you call like a walrus? If I remember correctly, like one walrus is the alpha walrus, and then all other male walruses basically don't get to mate until that alpha dies or is defeated. That feels pretty.
That'd be pretty good. Yeah, and like
that's a monopoly.
They're fat and have mustaches. Like, this checks out.
Yeah, like if you were going to do a cartoon of a fat cat, it's a walrus.
It's a walrus. That's a solid pick, Gino.
But hold on, you literally just said fat cat. What?
Sorry. A fat walrus. The famous fat walrus
Why are we
stereotype.
not doing cats?
Cats use their cuteness capital as a way to exploit our labor.
You know, that does raise the point of the Aristocats. It does. That's a great point, Em. I hadn't thought of that.
Cats just lounge around, exploiting everyone around them for food and profit. Ask any cat you know.
Well, when a cat is brought into a capitalist system, it exploits the labor of others. But on its own, cats are self-sufficient. They can adapt, is what I'm saying about the cats. And the Aristocats.
So you're saying the cats are the bourgeoisie?
The petite bourgeoisie. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're the lumpen proletariat. I don't know.
We'll do a full Marxist analysis of the animal kingdom later. For now, the important thing to remember is these ants are Soviets.
They are.
And they have weirdly good technology for a Soviet society.
They do. They're fairly competent. They are at war with the fire ants for some reason, and it would appear that the fire ants shoot fire a la Fallout.
Do you ever see them?
No,
I didn't think
you
I
don't.
came across
Yeah,
them.
I didn't run into any of them.
Yeah.
You just see the fall. You just see the damage, and like the areas where the fire ants have been are always full of fire. So I assume that they are either like Fallout 3 or Fallout style ants that shoot fire, or they're just ants that invested heavily in flamethrower tech. I don't really know.
But they're evil and we hate them.
Yes. And so when you're in the ant colony, like you get a lot of puzzles where there's a pipe or there's an object that is on the ground and it needs to not be on the ground. It needs to be attached to a very specific sprocket or something. And so what you need to do is shoot a web at it and then web it to the like holder where it's supposed to be, and then repeat this process like 20 times, because every web you add moves it slightly further up until it clicks into place. And if at any point your angle is off or you add too many webs in a wrong spot so that it's coming up horizontal instead of vertical or vertical instead of horizontal, you have to shoot the webs down and start again. And that's most of the puzzles in this game, is using the webs to, like, attach things.
It is very obnoxious. And it's also a little reductive, honestly. I mean, like, spiders use their webs in a whole bunch of super cool ways. Like, there are funnel web spiders. There are spiders that use their webs to fish. Like, there aren't just, cobweb spiders.
And not just cobweb spiders. Like, spiders, you're basically playing Bridge Builder, which is a real game that exists. Like, it's a...
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of when you were literally building a bridge using webs and sticks.
That's true, you do that.
Like, I do remember this game. Yeah.
But it's like, it's Bridge Builder because it's this weird physics puzzle where you're using webs as your substitute for rope or your substitute for steel beams, depending on what you're trying to do. And this game, I don't know about y'all, but when I was swinging and platforming and navigating, I enjoyed this game quite a lot. I think that the swinging mechanics feel very tight. I enjoy the sense of momentum you can get. There's one section, literally, I think there's one section in this whole game where I got to do the swinging, where the swinging mechanic felt perfect for me. So in the anthill, at the very bottom, there's this like electrical bay, and it's lined with spikes, death spikes on the top and the bottom. So there's kind of this narrow path that you can go down. There is an elevator you can turn on that will kind of take you straight through this perfect arc so that you can get where you're supposed to go. But I sequence broke that a little bit by just dangling down with my web and throwing myself at like the perfect angle to avoid all of the spikes. And when I did that, I was like, this feels awesome. I love that, I was able to fiddle with my grapple and feather the controls just enough to get to the right height and then swing myself just perfectly to avoid all these spikes. And it felt like a really tight platforming puzzle. And I was like, perfect, great. I hope that the rest of the game is like this. But like I said at the beginning of my anecdote, that was the only time I did it the entire game. The rest of it, either I was swinging around and the swinging, you were swinging through giant open spaces with almost no challenge, and that wasn't especially rewarding, or you were walking around and doing physics puzzles. And the physics puzzles, I don't think the physics in this game are tight enough to where I felt like I had a lot of agency sometimes. Sometimes I felt like I knew what to do, but the game just wouldn't let me do it. Like, for example, in the ant level, there are some sections where you have to connect hoses to things, and the hoses wiggle.
Oh, the hoses are the worst.
Yeah, they have a loose end, and then they have the hose end that's attached to something. And the loose end always fucking jiggled around, and getting it to get to the specific point where it snaps into place was a huge fucking pain. Right? Am I...
Yep. And sometimes it looks like it's in there, but then it actually isn't. It's not the best.
No. They also move like in a really creepy, unnatural way.
Yeah.
Like I don't think they like move like hoses move.
They don't move like hoses move, and my problem is just that the puzzle of what am I supposed to do here is not a hard one. The puzzle of can I get the game to do what I know it's asking me to do, that's the hard part. And like there was one section of the in the anthill where you kind of had a cog, and you were trying to create there was a switch at the bottom of this cog, and you had a bunch of rocks. And so what the game clearly wanted me to do was shoot a web, attach it to this cog, the cog is spinning, and there was a series of gates, alternating gates. So you wanted to be able to get this switch to dynamically flip on and off. So I knew that this was what the game wanted me to do, but the webbing, when you web something together, sometimes it just like clips through the object and then becomes adhered not to where you aimed it, but like to whatever it rubbed against. So just like getting this pebble to move around this cog smoothly without getting attached to the cog, because of how the web just happened to rub through like the point of contact on the wheel, it took me like 20 minutes. Not because I didn't know what to do, but because it just wouldn't move properly. And that the web's clipping through stuff happens all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's a long history of games trying to do physics puzzles, probably since like Half-Life 2. It's probably the main one everyone remembers. And it's, as they'll tell you, very hard to balance that and make it like feel good every time, especially if you're using like predetermined assets. So yeah, they're sort of just using their toolbox and assembling puzzles, but sometimes those puzzles are not meant to be that way. And you could see this all over the place in this game. So it was, it's tough. I think you need a bigger like studio to handle things like this, like more playtesting, I would say. I don't know.
Yeah, it really it reminded me of Little Big Planet, like all the time I was playing it. Like that loose floating physics. And
yeah, exactly.
You wish that it was dialed in like a Mario game, but instead it's like just floaty enough to be annoying. Pete, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I don't know why they had to go with all these like cogs and hoses and ant infrastructure either. They're like, because there seems to be a moment where they sort of want to go in a wisdom of nature direction.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, the spider can build bridges, and the dung beaters have their own unique lifestyle. And, look at the bee and its majestic hive. But then they have these ants, and they have a hot air balloon that you build somehow. Yeah, maybe this is just me coming from another place where I wanted it to be about what spider life is like. But I think it would have been more interesting had they just leaned in that wisdom of nature direction.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's what I was hoping for. And once you get into the hive and the anthill, and they're telling you, okay, we got like 4 different rooms. You got to go to engineering and turn the pump back on so that we can, gas up this mech. I felt like I was in a completely different game. Like, I've played games where there's
Mhm.
3 rooms in a base and I need to turn on 3 things so that I can get the puzzle solved. And, then you're just making another game. It felt like yet another kind of weird Metroidvania style thing when I was coming to it expecting something different. Which I guess part of that's expectation management, but on the other hand, like, the page for Web talks about the life of spiders and stuff.
Yeah, the only thing that it gives you is you will be playing as a spider and doing spider things, make some webs. No mention of hot air balloons or mech ants or
I think
any
it's
of
like
that.
in the trailer, but I
Probably.
you don't know that it means that you're gonna have to go to the electrical room and turn on the power,
Yeah.
and then go to the water room and turn on the water, and then go to the gas room and turn on the furnace. Like, that it's very, and the anthill is really the one that's the most video gamey. I feel like the dung beetle pile and the bee hive, those sections are much more straightforward. Like, they're platforming. There's one annoying puzzle in the Doug Beetle section where you have to balance out basically a teeter-totter using webs. And there's pretty much not. I liked the bee section the most of the 3.
Did you like collecting the pollen?
I mean, I was, platform. It was the most platformy section. And
That's
so
true.
because it had the most platforming, I didn't mind collecting the pollen and eating flies and collecting baby spiders. And did y'all collect baby spiders?
I did.
Oh,
I
yeah.
collected the baby spiders. I also did not eat the flies
Okay.
Mhm.
because that was mean.
If you collect all the baby spiders, they like swarm around you,
Yeah.
like they're riding on you as you go.
Yeah, it's horrifying.
Yeah.
It was so creepy.
You're a spider covered in spiders.
Which I guess is how spiders work, but I don't want to see it.
No. You do what you want, but don't show it to me, spiders. But yeah, I think the B section, because the platforming was the focus of that section. The dung beetle section would not have offended me as much if the teeter-totter puzzle didn't take so damn long. You just have to move so many logs and like adhere them so many times.
Yeah, the best part was when you just got to run on the dung.
Yeah.
That was cool.
And also, like, I don't know if either of you fell down the fast travel from the dung beetle section to the anthill.
What happened to you, Gino?
What happened to Gino was he got to the top of the dung pile, and there's a little sign that looks like a little hill, and if you walk too far, you'll start slipping because the dung and the mud, you cannot shoot webs onto it. You have to shoot at stable ground. So once you start falling down something muddy, there's no way back up. So I accidentally jumped into this mud section and started sliding, and I was like, this must be taking me someplace cool. And it turns out it took me all the way back to the fucking anthill, and then it took me 20 minutes to climb back up. So
and there's no way to fast travel either, so you gotta walk.
That is the fast travel, is sliding down that stupid hole, but there's no fast travel back up.
Mm-hmm.
You can't like web it.
No,
you can't.
Because it's all muddy.
Sucks.
Yeah, so I don't know why I get why they connected it to show like where's the mud coming from, but there's no need for fast travel in this game, or I should say, make fast travel or don't. But this section where there's 2 areas in this game that are connected, but I didn't see. I think there might be a connection between the beehive and the skatebird area, which we can talk about that in a second. But there's not a lot of fast travel connecting these things.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very weird. I didn't expect it. Like, I didn't expect to be able to fall all the way back. And
the fact that it's a one-way, is also a pain in the ass.
It's a chute, but there's no ladder.
Yep.
So, yeah, that was kind of a bummer. And I also was a little bit bummed out by the map. Like, you said you didn't know there was a map for a while.
I didn't know there was a map, and then when I found the map, I was like, this doesn't help me at all. So there might as well have not been a map,
There are, like, circles, and they kind of show where things are adjacent, but they don't have. I didn't see good lines between them to show you what area connected to what area. I really wish instead of the art, like the kind of artistic map that they made, it was just a Metroidvania map.
Yeah, just
show me
rooms.
where the rooms connect.
Mm-hmm.
Just squares with rooms. But I just had a hard time navigating because I didn't know sometimes when things connected to each other. I just kind of had to eyeball it based on whether the circles were close. So there's a good amount of side content in this game as well. What did y'all think of that stuff?
Oh man, is there? So
Yep.
well, we can get into the specifics of the side content in a second, but one thing I did like about the side content is I appreciated the rewards you get for it. So you get stickers, which are already awesome, but they can also change your appearance. So you can get little hats, which is cool. I mean, spiders and hats, that's cute. But you can also change what kind of spider you are, which is super cool.
Wow.
So you can be a black widow, which is my personal favorite. You can also be a wolf spider, I think was one. There's a bunch of really creepy long-legged spiders. No tarantulas, though. I thought that was a bit of an oversight. But maybe because they don't spin webs.
Yeah, they don't. And they're huge.
They are. They are huge. But yeah, I like the Black Widow, personally, because they got that cool red hourglass.
Yep. And
Did you see the robot spider as well?
I did. That one was
Yeah.
cool.
Mm-hmm. And also, you can, get your head changed into a fly.
How?
Yeah. If you eat all of the flies and you go back to that one fly, that's I watched this. I did not do it myself. There's something like 50 flies around all of the level. And then he's like, "You're a monster. Feel the pain of the flies." And then your head turns into a fly. And I don't know if you can undo it. It's like a curse.
That sounds super creepy, and I'm glad I didn't do it.
Yep.
What?
But you were still a spider. You just have a fly head.
So it's like the movie The Fly.
Yeah, I guess.
Ugh. So, what do you unlock? So, there's, some collectibles that you can collect. There's some stuff that's just, do main story stuff to unlock, stickers. And then there's the skatebird area. So there's a video game called Skatebird where you're a bird who skateboards like in Tony Hawk or something. And they added in a section of this game that has that. Like the bird from Skatebird is there, and it gives you a skateboard, and then you use this game's controls to kind of do Tony Hawk things. You can grind rails, you can collect letters like a Tony Hawk game.
Yeah, it spells out webbed, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's cute.
It is
It's
very
just
cute.
a fun little, tie in there.
I wish they let you keep the skateboard, though. When you leave
Yeah,
the
that
area,
was
you
fun.
lose the skateboard.
Yeah,
I
so
want it. I tried to take it out of there, but it doesn't let you.
what does the sticker from that do?
That might be Black Widow, actually. Is that helmet?
The Black Widow is in the area.
Yes.
I think it's the helmet, yeah.
Cool.
Because
Okay.
you got to have a helmet.
Yeah, of course. You're
Safety
skating.
first.
All right,
Exactly.
that's cool. Yeah, I did not realize you could activate the stickers, so I earned a bunch but didn't turn any of them on.
Mhm. I don't think it tells you at any point in the game, hey, this is what these do. You just got to kind of know.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's a little annoying in this game is they tutorialize you on the 4 buttons and then everything else is up to you. It's not really a hint system. There's not really anything to guide you places. The camera's in kind of tight on the spider, so sometimes you're just taking blind jumps because a web will connect and you don't know what's coming. So you in places where you need to explore, especially I found in the honeybee area, because you're kind of in the tree branches, sometimes it's hard to know that there is stuff to explore in a direction because it just looks like, blue sky. You just kind of have to swing in that direction and find that the camera keeps moving instead of you just splatting against a wall or falling to your death. Which, it's not the worst thing. It's just a little bit finicky, You find it is annoying sometimes when you find out, okay, I can't go further down because the game kills me when I do, instead of there being some sort of warning, or something that's kind of letting you know which direction is navigable, which is not.
I think there's maybe like a glow if you can go down, but it's hard to see, especially because a lot of the areas you're in are like pretty brightly lit. So I only noticed that once, and I was like, I wonder if this is consistent. And then I forgot to check if it was or not. So. Mm-hmm.
So the final area, once you've assembled your hot air balloon, you go to the floating island of the bowerbird, and it becomes the bird has floating gems, and it becomes even gamier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super weird.
What did y'all think of that final level?
There are gates you have to get through and collect the gems, and then when you rescue your boyfriend, he then becomes
the gem.
You can use to open the gates.
And it becomes an escort mission.
Yeah. Which, I was fairly okay. Sometimes escort missions are tough. But
my boyfriend did not listen when I danced for him to follow me sometimes.
He didn't?
Well, he would follow me, but like sometimes you need to get him to go up a web, and he would not jump well, or he would not do a good job of navigating. I was able to get through it, but it was just like occasionally he would make dumb choices that would set me back.
God damn it, boyfriend.
Yeah.
My ex would never do this to me.
Yeah.
Getting back with Brad.
And then you have to fight the bird in a laser flying dogfight.
You have to like land the ant mech on the back of the bird.
Yes, using webs.
Using your webs. Because I wasn't sure how they were going to do this final boss fight. But it's just the same mechanics you've been doing the entire game, which it's fine.
Yeah. I do like that the ant mech pins the bird by its neck. The ant mech pins the bird by its neck with its giant mandibles and is like, look, you get the fuck out of here.
And then
see you around this place again, we'll kill you.
Yeah. And then apparently the bird can understand you because it just fucks off.
Yeah. It's just gone
like,
forever.
Oh, damn, okay, I guess.
Yeah, it's a fun ending. I like the ant mech, got used. I like that they brought the ant mech to fight this bird.
You made all the assets, so you might as well use it,
Yeah. And that's the game,
That's the whole thing.
That's the whole thing. It's only like 4 to 6 hours, I would guess. It's a very small commitment. I like the platforming parts for the most part. I wish that there were just less physics puzzles.
Mm-hmm. I don't mind a physics puzzle here or there. The whole thing being physics puzzles, it's a little much.
Yeah,
but if that's your thing,
you'll love this. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll really like this.
If you like moving finicky cogs, look no further.
If you want the Spider-Man like web slinging, but you've already played the Spider-Man game that was on the PS4 a while back, maybe this will scratch that itch.
That was the thing, is that I got Spider-Man for the PS4, and the thing I like about that game is the swinging and the web slinging, and I would just like swing around Manhattan and just look for places that I know in Manhattan and be like, did they do that? Did they add this place? Where's the library? How big is Broadway? Can I see this theater that I went to once? What's going on down by the Statue of Liberty? How's Chelsea? And I would spend hours just swinging around because the swinging felt great and just navigating with that swinging felt great. And this game very much is not about the joy of swinging. And, we've played... How many different grappling games have we played at this point?
Oh, God. We did this one. We did Bionic Commando.
Are we counting games that have grappling hooks or just...
grapple hooks, yeah. Those count.
Right,
what's the game we just
Unsighted.
played? Yeah, Double Hook Shots.
Unsighted has kind of
Yarn?
grappling mechanics.
I feel
Yeah,
like
the yarn
Yarn
games. Yep.
Doubles, Yeah.
hmm
We played a lot, is what I'm saying. And this one, I think, probably did the... It's not the least. It just... Part of game design, and correct me if I'm wrong, you find the fun, right? You find the thing that is the most appealing about your design, and you try to focus attention there.
hmm hmm
This game... Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna agree with you. It's about like, you know, that's what playtesting is for. Really, is digging out what the main draw of your game is, and you know, this one, I think the web swinging was the fun part. I don't think anyone's like, oh yeah, my favorite game is physics puzzles.
My favorite part of this game was vertically lifting a cog for
I
5
had to make
minutes.
so many webs to lift that cog. That one lever puzzle, my favorite, best
puzzle.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, so like that's my problem is that like this game has in it a very good swinging mechanic and even a cool web mechanic, but they decided to focus it on the part that is the least interesting, which is using a web. And it's not even like to hold something in place necessarily. It's usually to lift an object vertically, which, it just was finicky and took a lot of time. Not necessarily the most challenging to even conceptualize what needs to be done. It just takes a while to do. So yeah, that's, I think, webbed. Any other takes or impressions before we call it?
I mean, look, it's a cute little game. The spiders are fun, and you can dance. You know what I mean? You can walk up to anybody and hold the dance button, which is nice. It's fun.
And sometimes they react.
Yeah. Like, look, this game isn't going to change, your attitude towards games or spiders. But, it's a cute little 3-4 hours.
And it's upsetting because I love jumping spiders. They're among my favorite spiders.
Ugh.
When I find one in my house, I'm like, hey, you can stop.
Jump, bro.
What's up, little dude? Show me a jump.
Yes. They're so cute. They're teensy. They're very non-threatening. They're way less scary than the other spiders. And they eat gnats and stuff. They're very useful. I had one that was like living on a window at my place. And I was like, you can stay. I'm going to check in on you every day, little buddy. And this is a game about that. And I feel like I was the target audience and, came away wanting more spiders. All right, so I think that does it for Webbed. Which means now, Emmett, is your turn to pick once again.
It's my turn.
Yes. You said that I would be unhappy.
Gentlemen, the last show that we did was the Game of the Year podcast, where I was spurned. I felt like Vagrant Story Game of the Year runner-up should have been the pick. So I think this year I'm going to be absolutely insufferable.
Oh no.
I love it. I'm already 100% in.
A 12-month vengeance tour.
I'm going full heel. I'm going to be picking games that are long, games that are not in our usual wheelhouse.
Antagonistic.
Antagonistic to Gino. We'll see if we can get some sexy games in here.
Oh no.
If you just pick Dota 2 every week, I'm burning this podcast to the ground. I just want to put that in.
I think you've already played Dota.
We have, and if I ever have to go near it again, I will cut off my own fingers.
That's fair. League of Legends instead. But that's not what I'm gonna do this week. This week, I think that there is a game that we've missed, which is very popular. Like, very popular. Some might say it's one of the most popular games ever made.
Oh no. Is this Monster Hunter?
No.
Fortnite?
Good.
Oh, Pete, you got it. We're going to play fucking Fortnite.
I know.
No!
Yes! Yes!
Does Fortnite have a plot?
There is a story mode to Fortnite. I don't know how you access it.
Does it tell me the backstory of Ariana Grande and the banana?
God, I hope so.
Can I ask a very dumb question?
Sure.
How do you spell Fortnite?
I think it's Fortnite.
Is that it? Okay.
Yep.
It's not on Steam, is it?
It's on the Epic Game Store. Also on Switch. Also on PlayStation, I want to say.
It's not on the Apple Store anymore. Didn't they have a whole thing?
No, they took it down. Yeah. They had a big lawsuit, I think.
I greatly recommend looking up what the Ariana Grande skin looks like on the Switch.
Oh, is it different on the Switch?
Oh, yes. They have fewer polygons to play with on the Switch.
That is correct.
All right, so are we playing story mode or the mode that's actually popular?
I have no preference.
Let's play the mode that's actually popular. We can try and play with people because Fortnite is basically PUBG, but with more fiddly bits.
Yeah, apparently that's not actually what Fortnite started as. Apparently there were zombies, and you build a fortification, and then at night the zombies come, and you gotta survive, and then gather supplies. So if you can figure out how to access that mode, give it a go. This is gonna be a weird one, and hopefully we don't get a lot of 12-year-olds yelling at us in the comments.
Maybe we will. Who knows?
Who knows?
If so, welcome to the show. Please subscribe to the Patreon.
I'm sure 12-year-olds love Marxist theory.
Oh, yeah. We're going to talk all about all of that, I'm sure.
So I guess next time we are becoming one with our inner brands.
Yep.
We're playing Fortnite. I guess I'll play it on the PlayStation because I don't have control of my life. And I have more space on that system.
And y'all better put in the fucking work. I think there's a level system, so.
Oh, thank God there's a level system.
Is Fortnite cross-compatible?
It has to be at this point, right?
Yes, for the
most part. I just assumed the world was Fortnite.
Yeah.
We're all just living in it.
Yep. I want to see if I can get into the Martin Luther King exhibit they had in there.
What?
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, it was very weird when Rick Sanchez went up to the Martin Luther King exhibit.
Oh my God.
They were playing videos of his speeches in Fortnite.
What have we become?
We're going to find out what we've become next time when we play Fortnite. Fuck. Okay. Well, thank you, M.
It's going to be a weird 2022.
Thank you, Pete.
Careful when you gaze into the abyss, unless it stares back.
Thank you, listeners. Reminder, you can get in touch with the show at DeepListensPod on Twitter, deeplistens.libsyn.com. We have our comment sections, and deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com. You can send us emails there, and you can support the show on patreon.com/deeplistens. If you were to do so, even $1, you would get access to our Discord, where you can yell at M for doing this to us.
You can yell at me all you want. It won't stop me.
Can we just go back and re-record Game of the Year? It's fine.
If we had given it to Vagrant Story, would we be playing a fun little lesbian dating sim instead?
I had something all lined up, and it would have been just fine, and you would have thought it was okay, and then now we got to do this.
Damn it. Well, thank you. Till next time. Peace.